So Fujifilm just released a new camera that's caused quite a bit of controversy in the photography industry. And I think the reason for it is that it's quite misunderstood for what it's supposed to be, and it's not really pushing any boundaries when it comes to technology. Now, it does have a cool new sensor that's oriented in a vertical style format, but that's kind of besides the point. So of course the camera that I'm talking about is the Fujifilm X-HF. And it has basically a 1-inch sensor that's oriented in a vertical style format. It shoots JPEGs only, it's not packed with video features, and from everything that I've been reading, it's kind of a plasticky body. But with that comes something that I think a lot of cameras aren't offering anymore, and that's just a fun shooting experience. So let me dive into that. Now, across the internet, people are complaining about this camera. It's not packed with features, it's not stacked out with specs and crazy dynamic range or anything like that, but I think a lot of people are missing the point. The point of this camera is revolutionizing not the technology, but the shooting experience. So this camera feels like it's in the vein of a half-frame film camera. It has a lever on it, it doesn't have any kind of crazy controls or dials. The only thing that is notable on it is an exposure value dial. But it does have a little swipe screen window that makes it look like you're shooting a film stock, the same way that you would if you loaded a roll of film into an old point-and-shoot camera. And the style of it kind of looks like an old Canonet. But from everything I've been seeing, the main point of this camera is just overall fun. It's the fun shooting experience, and it's not to be taken too seriously. This isn't going to be used in any kind of professional formats. It doesn't have a super shallow depth of field. In fact, the lens on it is an f2.8, which equates out to an f7.2 depth of field and aperture range with the size sensor that it has. So pretty much everything's going to be in focus. And in fact, from what I've been reading, the camera was kind of designed to feel like a Fujifilm disposable camera. Now, of course, this camera does offer the tried and true Fujifilm film simulations, but it's not going to have a ton of them. Where that film cartridge would normally be is a touchscreen that you can swipe through and adjust your Fujifilm film simulations. The cool thing with the lever is it actually is functional. So you can enter something called a film mode, and that allows you to pick between 36, 52, and 74 exposures. And after you activate this film mode, you have to utilize the lever to forward to the next picture. But this also is going to replicate somewhat the experience of shooting film. You're not even going to be able to look at the photos after you've taken them. And once you commit to a project, there's no going back unless you eject the battery or the SD card. Now, the one thing I will say Fujifilm kind of missed the mark with is the price point on this, and it's coming in at $849. I don't think that was the expected price, but due to some tariffs here in the US, that's kind of going to make pricing suck on just about anything that we get now. So it feels like it would have been a better camera in the $500 to $600 range, but what can we do about that? I will say, at first glance, this camera is super interesting to me, and I've always had some kind of interest in half-frame film cameras, but this is a camera I'd really like to get my hands on and try out. Not because I think I'm going to create some drastic, dramatic images with it, but because I think it's going to be so much fun to have in the hand, and it's super tiny and easy to take anywhere with.